Thank you so much for staying with us. The hashtag we're using is Daybreak. We're talking about everything. News, politics, kila kitu. Everything on the table and the newspapers as well. Let's introduce our guests first. We have Honorable Rosa Buyu. Thank you so much for coming in. Woman Rep Kisumu County.
You forgot to say I'm your woman rep.
Yes, she is my woman rep.
Oh, okay.
From Kisumu County, asante sana. We also have Sylvia Kasanga, nominated senator. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank
and
you.
Beatrice Elachi, Speaker, Nairobi County as well. We should also say she's also our speaker, right?
Yeah, she's also
because
speaker.
we also
For
live
us
in
who stay in Nairobi, she's our speaker. Thank you.
All right. You can call in live as well, 0719 777 We'd like to hear from you. Twitter, Trevor Mbija, at Zinzi K.
And at Citizen TV Kenya.
Absolutely. Hashtag is Daybreak. Let's take a look at the newspapers. Front page of the Daily Nation. Election loss, not a big deal, says Raila. He says it's a drop in the ocean. Opposition leader thinks those ridiculing his party are reading too much into the outcome of the by-elections, which he says were very tightly contested and could have gone either way. That's the front page of the Daily Nation. We also have why Uhuru is losing grip on Mount Kenya. A new disease secretly sweeps across the world. And you also have a lady there who's been featured under university leadership. Toughness conquers hooliganism in student elections. That's on the front page of the Daily Nation. The Standard.
Of course, on the Standard, Raila to Ruto on graph tour. Ask Uhuru, not me. Of course, this is according to Raila Odinga, and says Odinga and DP continue their ping-pong politics game, with the ODM leader urging that Ruto is a senior state official, and if he suspects a graph tour is targeting him, he should ask Uhuru directly. And of course, one of the most amazing stories that we've seen this week, the hand of God. Mother-baby escapes crash. And sadly, on page 11, what killed Eva after the birth of 5 babies. And we'll begin perhaps with a positive,
Absolutely.
on a positive note. Should we begin with comments on this as well as we head to the story of Eva?
Yeah.
All right, Beatrice Elachi, let me begin with you. What you think of the 2 stories right there? One involves a woman and her baby, positive news. On the other hand, again, another woman who had 5 children, 2 died before she passed away, only for her to pass 28 days later after her birth.
Well, first of all, we send our condolences to the Namuhula's home, Evelyn Namuhula's home, yeah? Because I think one of the things, the saddest part of all this story, is that you give birth to the 5 babies. They are very healthy when you look at them. And then in 28 days, you go. And for us, when we are talking of maternal health care, this should be a case study to understand what are the other implications after delivery, because I know we have many implications. Yeah, women sometimes just bleed. You've just delivered well, you have finished, and in a few hours you'll just start bleeding. So we just need to understand, and I hope the doctors will follow up and then give a report so that it will never happen to another woman again. That because I understand she complained about chest problems, breathing problems. The respiratory problems must have been triggered by something else. What is this that triggered her? Number 2 is that I know most of the time you'll find the doctor maybe was not on call immediately. So you find it is the nurse who will struggle to try the best to see that you are either alive, or if it's unable completely, by the time you get your doctor, things are worse and you're gone. So as women, I think we'll want to understand, because now we have the babies left. Then what? How are they going? We are now need to get more worried of the babies. But I also want to ask our families that when God blesses us, we don't start by removing. The power of the tongue is very powerful. I remember the elders started on the word go. Oh, it is a curse. Oh, I don't know what. They read negative. Stigmatization had already started to pour on Evelyn. And I just want to tell them the power of the tongue is a very strong element within our bodies. That what you speak, you pronounce it, will come to pass. Yeah, so sometimes let us also look at the power of the tongue. In as much as I want to say, I would wish to understand the medical challenges that Evelyn had.
All right.
Yes.
Sylvia, is it an institutional breakdown? The doctor says, though, that it's a postmortem cardiomyopathy. Cardiovascular myopathy. It's something that nobody knows what causes it. But do you think there needs to be more in the institutions? They should be more empowered in terms of giving more structures? Because this is coming at a time when you also have hospitals that are given equipment that they can't even run. They don't have the resources, they don't have the personnel, they don't even have the qualified people to run those equipment, but they have them anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And let me also give my condolences to the family. It's a very sad case. And you must say, it's about the depth of things, how we do our things, how deeply do we interrogate the issues. This is a woman who has given birth to 5 children. Nothing is normal about that. You would have expected that the way she's handled in hospital from the day she walked in would have had a little or a lot more depth of issues to interrogate if there may be anything coming out of this unusual situation. So in my view, it is a breakdown, whether we want to admit it or not. It is an issue of how deeply do we interrogate issues, our professionals, you know. This is not just a case where people just walk in and walk out. She needed a lot more care. She needed to have been checked quite thoroughly from the beginning and all through after giving birth and way after. So I think there's a lot that needs to be done when it comes to our healthcare. And in as much as we're in the advent of the universal healthcare, a lot more needs to be interrogated. And not just, you know, just giving the system, but even the quality of our education of our doctors and the quality assurance and controls. Yes, I'm happy that now the CS has given a few more directorates. And there's one directorate she has added, which is the quality assurance. And we are hoping now from this we can begin to see things being interrogated, you know, a little bit more differently. And the quality of our doctors that are coming out. I think we've had a lot of, in the news, you've seen a lot of quacks in the industry. And it's not just in the healthcare. It's, you know, it's across board in this country of ours where we need to look deeply into issues. And we are losing such good people to small issues, especially in healthcare. You have all these cases of people who die from things that could have been, you know, caught at diagnosis, for instance, So a lot more needs to be done.
Also, good. Joining us as well is Honorable Wavinya Ndeti. Thank you so much for coming in. Former Machakos gubernatorial candidate and also former Gatiani MP.
Yes.
Thanks for coming in this morning.
Good morning.
Okay, asante sana.
Thank
you. Honorable Bui, we're coming to you, and at a time when we're rolling out universal healthcare in your county, in our county, one of the places that it's coming out, is this a litmus test, and are the results showing failure in your view?
I think this was our opportunity to actually show that we are advanced and we are serious, because like the senator says, this was not normal pregnancy.
Yeah.
I listened to the doctor explaining to us very elaborately last night in one of the TV stations about the risks that a woman faces when she goes to deliver. Under normal circumstance, a woman delivers 1 child. Now, if you know very well that these are the risks that a woman who comes to deliver faces, and then this is a woman who has not just delivered 1 child, but has delivered 5 children, how much more care should you give that woman? Especially now that you know the risk factors that this woman bears. So I think that we sort of laid back, given the fact that now the 5 children had been brought to birth, to life, and the woman seemed to be presenting well. So we sort of lapsed in giving her that extra care, forgetting that she was still at high risk. So I think that is where we missed it, because had this been nipped in the bud, she would still be alive today. And it's just unfortunate that Eva has not lived to see her children grow. Out of the 5 children, it was already painful for her enough to lose 2 of them. So now, even seeing these 3 grow is not going to happen for her. And yet she had done something. I mean, she had given us an experience that not many women have had before. So I just think there was a lapse in the care and lapse in the sort of care that we gave Eva, knowing that she was out of the ordinary.
She didn't
Her
get enough
situation,
attention.
she didn't get enough attention, and we were comfortable that now the babies are alive, Eva is alive, without actually taking that care, yet knowing that she was still at risk. So I think we should have done more.
Honorable Ndeti, let me just rope you into the conversation. Yes. She was from Kakamega, right?
Yes.
And we've seen the evolution, what it has been able to do with our healthcare system, the pros and the cons of it. Is this an example of what more we can do to strengthen healthcare within the devolved areas?
No, we need to strengthen our healthcare. But what I would want to say, we've come from far. You know, we used to lose a lot of women, mothers and children before through giving birth. The technology has advanced. You know, there are many women who could not give birth normally before. Cesarean has come, you know, although some people are misusing it. Yeah, just wanting to go remove the baby and not going through the right process. But I want to say we have come from far, but this was just a special case. Giving birth to 5 children is not a joke. And as my colleagues here say, the doctor should have taken more care of the mother.
You're right.
They should have taken more care because 5 children, you know.
During and after.
During and after.
Right.
They should have really paid more attention to her because it was a special case.
In Cuba, we would normally see doctors go door to door. Is that something perhaps we could
Not
implement?
even in Cuba, in UK, everywhere.
Yes.
I had my first child in the UK, and they used to come and visit me.
Door-to-door visits?
Yeah, they used to come and visit me at home just to check whether the child is okay and all that.
Right.
And that is what we should do, you know. I don't know whether she died in hospital or at home.
No, in hospital.
In hospital, yeah.
Yes.
But just to answer your question, we know that health is devolved. And like you say that she delivered in Kakamega, but had to be transferred to Eldoret. Now the focus is on healthcare in all our counties. If we actually develop our healthcare system within the counties well enough, such that when you have 5 children, you don't again have to face the trauma of, I mean, these children were the weight of these children was not they were underweight because they are 5. So now the trauma of transferring them from Kakamega to Eldoret is really just not what these children needed. So if we do develop our healthcare system such that if anything like this happens in a county, the county is able to deal with it, at least for a while, until there's stability, before they get extra care, then that can also help in saving lives.
And maybe have specialized maternity wards. You know, we should have very well equipped. Yeah, maybe in the counties cannot just have in everywhere, but in every sub-county, at least there should be a good healthcare facility where mother and child can.
So what is stopping us from achieving this in 2019? We already have we know the problems, we have the solution. The implementation seems to be a problem.
And sometimes they get equipment that they don't even need. So who's making these calls? You're in the political field, you would tell us, because there are certain counties that have complained that the equipment that is just gathering dust, nobody asked them whether that is the equipment they need. They don't have the personnel to do it, but there are millions and billions is being paid for that equipment. Which sometimes, actually, research shows that it's even easier to buy the equipment than to lease it.
Let's accept as a country,
yes,
we have lost a lot of qualified nurses and doctors to other countries. We have done
doing?
Yes, we have lost them. You go to UK, you find Kenyan nurses and doctors. You go all over the world, you find them. Where have we gone wrong? Yeah. What can we do to bring all these people we have invested in as a country back to our country and make sure our health facilities are better?
Right.
Something needs to change.
And talking about something that needs to change, ladies, let me rope in a very specific point, and I'm glad that today we have Honorable Sylvia Kasanga. I'm not sure if you've seen the video that has gone viral on social media of one person, a gentleman, if I believe, who threw himself off a building. This comes a week after the World Health Organization said Kenyans, between the year 2016 and now, 1.9 million Kenyans suffered from depression. People between the ages of 14 to 24 seems to be the ones who are facing the most. You have a bill in Parliament, a mental health bill. Where is that?
The Mental Health Amendment Bill, I need to be clear that it's an amendment bill, which we are amending the old Mental Health Act of 1993. It has never been amended. It has never been touched. A few people have tried, a few MPs have tried to champion it, but it always meets a dead end. You know, it always meets a dead end. And when I came across it, I decided, you know what, let me try. It's a mountain. It's a mountain of a bill. Because when it comes to mental health, it's a global issue. It's a global issue, and it's being discussed globally. And a lot of countries are approaching it with a lot of proactivity. They don't have as much stigma as we do here in Africa and in Kenya. So for us, we have to look at it a bit differently, because we need to fight the issue of stigma.
So you're not the first to try and amend it?
No, 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 no. In fact, in the last parliament, there was Honorable Lekuton. Yes, Lekuton brought his bill, which only went to first reading, and I was curious why it didn't progress beyond the first reading. And I did find out, you know, what happened after I had a chat with the ministry.
So
and
what happened?
They needed the Health Act to first go through.
Okay.
Because
so
the mental
that it
health
didn't get
bill,
support. Because nobody understands what depression is all about, and they're thinking it's a first world problem.
There's a whole dimension to it. If we are to get into it right now, we'll take the whole program, I can assure you.
But this shows that our
because
legislative bodies need to do a bit more when it comes to that on their side.
It's not even legislative, it's also the government. Because being the key stakeholder of our bills, you know, it depends on how well they uptake, especially private members' bills. It's not that easy. In fact, I came to discover it is a real challenge to push a private member's bill. It is. If the government, for instance, in our case of mental health, where the government has completely dropped the ball when it comes to mental health, they are, of course, have to take a defensive, you know, step, so the support doesn't come easily. You have to build support from all other stakeholders and all other angles. Mental health is a big issue.
Do you think by the
Kenyans
end
are
of this
suffering.
year you'd have been able to accomplish the amendment of that bill?
If I get support from the government, yes.
If you get support.
Yes.
And it's also the aspect of not even just the legal part of it, but the facilities, the number of psychiatrists we have in Kenya. I believe it stands at 8,000.
Everything.
Our facilities are not well equipped to handle mental illness in Kenya.
Yes, let's not also forget just the fact that it's an old bill. And since the promulgation of the new constitution, it has never been amended to fit into the dispensation of the new constitution. So we have the county governments as well, who have a task, being a devolved, you know, function. Health is a devolved function. The counties have a huge stake when it comes to mental health, fighting stigma, you know, and doing social psycho support, you know, preventative measures, and then post-treatment measures, which we want, you know, a lot of, what do you call it? We want community-based, especially community-based care for people. You know, Kenyans are struggling with depression, 1 in 4. That's the statistics, and that is what is known. In fact, I feel it is worse than 1 in 4.
Because it's seldom spoken about.
Because nobody speaks about it.
Can I take you back a little? I like what you're asking about devolution and the fact that health is actually devolved and how we handle our needs in terms of equipment, you know. Devolution means that you focus, the government, the devolved governments should focus on the specific needs of the specific people of that area. So if we allow ourselves to work on needs bottom up, then we will not be getting into wastage, like buying equipment which remain unused because you don't have personnel who are trained to use them, or you do not have electricity that you need, basic electricity that you need to use them. Because what happened with these equipments was the government at the top decided that we are going to purchase these equipments, whether the hospitals needed them or not. Whether they were the immediate thing the hospitals needed, they were purchased, and each county government was then coerced into paying for those equipments. Now probably what the individual hospitals needed were different equipments to answer to specific needs of those specific counties. But because it had been done from the top, a lot of money was now put in paying these equipments, which are now lying unused.
Which beats the whole purpose of
Which beats the whole purpose. So there's no way you're going to improve healthcare when the little money that you have purchases equipment that you don't really need or is not of your immediate need, you know? So even if we devolve healthcare, we must let the counties come up with the needs and satisfy the needs of the people.
All right, let's bring in Gideon. Hold on 1 second. Gideon is calling in from Ruai. Gideon, good morning.
Morning, Tom.
Yes, go ahead with your comment or question, Gideon.
Oh, I want to put this discussion in 2 different perspectives.
Go ahead.
One, it's about the Kenyan leadership.
Yes.
Quite a number of people are really dying simply because they don't have money.
Okay.
If at all you would have money, then the attention would have been taken towards this woman.
Okay.
She's a very slum-like. She was put under this camera simply because she gave birth to 5 children, which no one has ever done.
Okay.
But simply because she had no money, no one took attention towards her. Every time something happens, the members of parliament, the leaders shall say, we have a bill in parliament. But the unfortunate part of it is that these bills always, they are being said they are not going through simply because of the party leader.
Okay.
We have elected somebody called the women rep. The major duty of a women rep is to represent those difficulties faced by women. They are the same women who have gone through this.
Okay.
So they can say exactly what women go through in parliament, so that whatever they have gone through and other women should not go through.
Okay.
But when they go to parliament, they come to say, our political party leaders are not doing what we want.
Okay.
It means we won't get anything if at all the party leader is not interested in it.
Okay.
What should we do so that any other leader, even an MP, can move a motion even back in the county assembly?
Yeah.
And it become a law. It's not a must, it must go through the National Assembly.
All right, Gideon.
Because in the National Assembly, we're being led, messed up because the party leaders are not interested in this motion.
Okay.
And these motions are very important to our people.
Okay.
Especially when a women rep saying that we want a gender rule and the party leaders are not interested in this gender rule. The gender rule is important.
Okay.
But are the party leaders interested?
All right.
We wait for the party leaders to give us, okay, so that the country goes on.
Okay. Thanks, Gideon. That's Gideon from Ruai. And Rose, I know you'll respond to that, but before we come to you, you're the only woman rep on this table, so you'll take on Gideon. But Honorable Achi, you wanted to respond to this briefly.
Yes, I wanted to say, first of all, I know within the proposals that we are taking to BBI, we've really talked about this issue of mental health.
Yeah.
Even proposing that the government has to now relook at Mathare Hospital, because people think that when you're in depression, you're already mad, you're headed to Mathare. Yeah. Which is very wrong. There's a very bad stigma that comes around. But then there's another thing that is really worrying, that when you look at all these depressions, and I know not just the young people that you see, I will tell you for free, people who are now in the political class, who are working so hard, and you're wondering, am I moving? You find them in a sort of a depression, but they don't understand they're under depression. Yeah. But when you look at them and you look at the trends of what someone is doing, you realize they have just forgotten who they are, and now you're just moving. You know, you just move with things, because life has become, and the government, my Jubilee government must take responsibility. Yeah. That while you see all this, you need to ask, why is the root cause of depression as a government? Because it is because of the stresses that one is going through. Yeah. And therefore, we cannot run away. And as Senator says, and I'm telling her, I did a food security bill. We did it with Nairobi University. We were frustrated because you go up, then it goes to the National Assembly. If you have not lobbied properly, the committee that is supposed to manage the whole bill will frustrate you.
What do you mean lobby?
Lobby, yes. I am talking about lobbying.
Lobbying in terms of speaking to them, or in terms of paying them? Because there are committees that have been accused of
course,
expecting you to
you will
pay
speak,
them.
You will go and look for money from donors to have some different breakfast meetings with them. So you're using money.
So you're confirming that you're bribing?
Well, I don't know whether it is bribing or what to call it, but let me tell you, if you want to have...
I don't think lobbying is bribing.
No, that's why I wanted to be very clear about what lobbying is, because if it's food security, everybody knows we all need food.
I'm
Why
just
are they
saying
fighting?
The reality. You have to look for money, because it's a private bill. You need to look for those who can support you, so that those breakfast meetings are done for at least members to come and help you to understand.
Honorable Ndeti, why is it so difficult to pass a food security bill, a mental bill? This doesn't have to do with politics.
Oh yes, it was very difficult. I think now it has been passed, but it has not come to the National Assembly yet. So you can imagine, for the last 4 years, we've been pushing government to have a wholesome food security bill.
Is it laziness from our political leaders? If you have to lobby someone to come and say, listen to my food security bill, to my mental health bill, and support me. Mental health, you have nothing to lose as a politician.
Is it about Kenyans or about individuals now?
And you know, we are candid here.
Yeah.
We've said bare knuckles.
Bare knuckle.
This is what happens in Parliament. Now you have a bill, for example, it's a private bill. But government looks at it and realizes that is an issue that we are the ones to deal with. So those in the government side will frustrate that bill. They will take you off, you will move with it, reach somewhere, come back.
But not in Parliament.
Well,
in Parliament
it's both. I just want to say, for example, the 2/3 bill. If we agreed with what Sijeni had at that time, but we looked at Sijeni as who? NASA. And we said, Sijeni is NASA. How can NASA? Now, those who believe now that way, they are saying, how can NASA get glory of past? But they could not see beyond what we were seeing. It's the same thing with every bill in Parliament. We don't need to lie. We want to clean Kenya, and corruption is not just stealing the money. Corruption is also manipulating the process that would have helped Kenyans to have something better.
You know, I want to
That's
go
all
back on the mental health. You know, this depression. You see, a lot of people, maybe they are not sick, but they are going through, what is the core? Why our young children, why are our teenagers killing themselves? Yeah, because if you look at most of these people who are even going to hang themselves, you know, they are young and depressed. What is causing all this problem? When you look at it, some of them have left university, they don't have jobs, they don't have employment, somebody is staying at home, you know. We really need to look at that. Yeah, because I've gone to a few funerals. In fact, there's a girl I was educating. You know, she came from a poor family. And this girl looked happy all the time. I paid her fees on time. And then just one time, I'm called and told she killed herself.
How can we link education to mental health, Honorable Sylvia? The reason why I ask this is that from the story you've just given, perhaps if our schools had, and this is something that I've seen in other countries, 1 hour a day or a week where teachers are talking to the students, not teaching them, talking.
But most of the ones who are killing themselves are not in school. Yeah, this is between age 23 and 36 there.
But it's true what you're saying.
If you look at it, 23 and 36.
The issue of mental health, we have to approach it from a very early stage. Yes. And it has to be inculcated even in the education system, which is something that the bill that we have sponsored, that I've sponsored, is advocating for. In fact, right from ECD, we want from that early stage, issues of mental wellness have to be discussed, how to maintain your mental wellness. A lot of the teenagers are killing themselves because of unmet expectations. A lot of it has to do with that, be it in their love lives or in their education. Maybe they've not met, you know, certain thresholds, or they've not pleased their parents. Then there is the issue of not getting jobs. That is really
not
big.
Getting jobs is
the
big.
Job issue is big. It's affecting youth in the county because then they go into drug use and abuse. So there's all that now that is encompassing. And then for older people, again, expectations that are unmet, be you in your marriage or you know things like that. Even in the job space, the ones who committed suicide are people who are working.
And so this is mostly driven by the society.
Exactly, societal issues and expectations.
In our education system, the higher you go with in that system, the higher your aspirations become. You know, you begin to feel like now you're educated, you've gone through university, you're a graduate. And there are cases where you have graduates, people who've graduated probably with upper second, riding carts, selling, peddling, hawking water, you know, in jerry cans. And yet the education that they've gone through has made them aspire to be bigger things or bigger people in the society. And then you discover that you're either too many, reality hits you that you're not able to get to yourself or secure a job as you had thought you'd get. So you go into another life that your education the system did not prepare you for, you know, that you can become self-reliant and whatever job you're doing is still okay. So, you know, you begin to feel like you just don't fit, you don't fit in, and like she says, you feel like what you expected or the effort that you put in through your education has not given you the good returns that you expected to get. So that is causing a lot of frustration.
And also they were
about
trained.
To take a short break, but I'd like Honorable Buyu to respond to Gideon. Gideon raised very fundamental questions. We're about to take a break.
Okay, should I first of all let Gideon know? I think Gideon was very passionate in his question. And I think he really feels strongly about what he was saying. But we all make this mistake that a woman representative works for women. That is not what it is. A woman representative is elected by both men and women, and both young people and old people, and she's supposed to represent all the vulnerable people in that.
Nevertheless, before we take that break, nevertheless, his aspect was the fact that he feels that women in political leadership have failed the likes of Eva, right?
Yes.
And the reason why I asked this, the reason why he says this, which is my next question, has the substance of being a woman in Kenya changed ever since we now have positions that are specifically left for women leadership in politics? Or tomorrow we went for a referendum and we scrapped out the women representative seat, will being a woman in Kenya change the quality of being a woman in Kenya?
I don't think so. I think, let me give my example. I've contested twice before I became a woman representative, and I was contesting for a constituency seat against men. Because I wanted to be a leader, not because I wanted to be a woman. I'm already a woman, but I wanted to be a leader who is a woman. And what he's saying holds some water in the sense that women are supposed to be more empathetic, to be more caring, and because, for example, I have 3 children, I ought to know the risk and the experience of having children, so I should be driven by my experience to come up with bills that would help other women like me. That is true. But you don't have to be a woman representative to do that, you know? You can be any leader. But what he's saying is true, that when you are a woman and you're in a situation where you're in parliament, you have that added advantage of the experience of being, of what being a woman has given to you.
You see,
that is what Gideon is
listen, a woman representative is also not a doctor. Let everyone do their job. You understand? Here it's a matter of, you know, people should just do their job. Yeah, she cannot go to the hospital and treat the woman. There are doctors there, but there are nurses there. Let everyone be responsible.
And are we saying that Eva died because of lack of bills from the women representatives? Is that what we're trying to say?
No. So everyone needs to be responsible.
She needed more support.
She needed more support.
More support in what? In coming up with bills that would have helped her. You know, for example, when we are talking about the doctors should have just been a little more diligent and given her more care, given that she had 5 children. So that would come from a bill of a woman representative.
So we can't equate having more women in political leadership equal to a better life for a woman in Kenya.
No, we can.
We can. That one is very true.
We
and that is why.
And
things have changed. We are where we are today. Right. But I just want to say this.
Very briefly, we really have to take a short break
And I
now.
think that's the confusion that also citizens have.
Okay.
Fine. We have women who are elected. We have women who are elected in constituencies. We have those who are nominated. Now, before even the woman rep arrives from Nairobi, then I think I have 950 MCAs nominated in every county. They are there. And I think it is time they also need to wake up and say, look, because as much as we will now blame it on women, those are the first to have gone to hospital the day they had. We have a woman who has delivered in Kakamega 5 children. You will trigger and say, let me just go and visit this woman, because this is really not the normal way we go through. Then from there, they will now ask questions. How is Eve? How? Nobody went. So I want to tell my women who are now nominated at the county and all. And that is one thing. When you are nominated, it is the most unfortunate thing, because you are supposed to carry anything called national. That's the most unfortunate. You are not for anything. You are for your party, but
what you say is you have more women in leadership. Women are more likely to make laws that affect lives. So if you have more women in leadership, it is true, like Gideon says, you will have more laws that affect daily lives.
I promise you we'll come back with this conversation, because we need to pay a few bills. We'll come back with that point, all right?